We're going to be recording these talks. So if you need a copy, if you wanted to listen to it. And don't worry, a lot of you are concerned that you were dilated and it's going to wear off. It usually lasts a full day. So. You want to put that camera maybe down here, do you think, on this table?
Well, it needs to be charged, so.
We don't have a longer extension cord that we can maybe plug it up here, another one?
Yeah, just trying to chair. Can I move this? Yeah, it's just gonna hold the chair.
But make sure that that mic is directed to me, that little directional mic on the side. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give my talk. Every day I'm going to give a talk and answer your questions. Then after that, I'm going to take pictures of your eyes. We'll do the dilated part. And then when you're done, we'll start your IV. We're going to do an IV today. So we may be running a little late today, if that's okay. It's daylight savings time, right? So who knows what time it is? It was hard for me to get up this morning because I spent the last week in San Diego. So starting at 8:30 here was like 5:30 in San Diego. But I really shouldn't make a big deal, right, Dr. Lee, you're on Australian time. Upside down. So it's 2 a.m. No, it's midnight. Midnight. So you're in charge. If she starts to doze off, kick her. It was funny. I gave the talk one time, and there was one guy in the audience. Now, I usually look around to everybody when I'm talking, and one guy slept through the whole thing. I mean, he slept. And then after the lecture, he came up to me and says, Dr. Kondrot, I want to thank you that this was the best talk I ever heard. I don't know. Maybe he was absorbing it on some energetic level that I'm not aware of, you know. Yeah. Hey, but you're welcome to fall asleep, because if sleep helps you, you're here to get better, right? And if you need sleep, sleep. Okay, well now we're officially beginning the Kondrot Restore Vision program, and I want to thank all of you for coming here. Some of you traveled a great distance from Australia. We had a gentleman earlier a doctor from Germany that came here. And it's interesting, I very rarely see people from Florida. And I think it's because the expert is always a great distance from where you live. You know, the doctor down the street can't possibly know how to help you. But, you know, all physicians, I think, have a calling, and we're honored to have. How many years did you practice medicine?
58.
58 years. 58 years. So here's a guy that has a lot of wisdom. I think what I've learned over the years, there's knowledge and wisdom. When you graduate from medical school, you have a lot of knowledge but no wisdom. And as you practice, you learn different things. And that's kind of how I started. I had a lot of knowledge, and I felt there wasn't any eye disease that I couldn't cut and put back together getting cure. That over the years practicing, you realize that some of the things that you do, maybe you're harming your patients more than helping them. And sometimes, the less you do, the better. And maybe that's why I like homeopathy, because homeopathy, we're using such dilute medications, it's like nothing. Sometimes, I read a good article that the best physician is a doctor who listens to the patient. And I'm sure when you started practice, you knew your patients. You listened to them, you knew their families, and we're losing that in medicine. Now a doctor, 5 minutes with the patient, he may listen to you for 15 seconds, and he already has a prescription and treatment, and he's moving on. So that's not the way medicine was meant to be practiced. And that's one reason why I like this program, because you're here for close to a week, and we're going to get to know each other. And every day I'm hoping to learn a little bit more about you so I can come up with a good treatment plan to help reverse your eye problem and, restore your general health. So it's important that, everyone here is relaxed. We're kind of like a family. If anything that you need or don't like, let us know. I want to welcome you here, and it's my mission to try to find the solution and figure out the puzzle of why you're losing your vision. And then the goal is when you leave at the end of the week, you are going to know that what we're doing here can help your vision. And you're going to want to continue the treatments on your own at home. So I want to thank all of you for coming, and we're going to be ready to go. We're going to divide this into 3 parts. So we'll go to the next one, if we can turn it off, and then the first thing we're going to talk about, you can keep them, and you can adjust the focus on that one. So just restart it, and this is going to be on diet and nutrition. Diet and nutrition. Better, food is your best medicine. Because when people hear the word diet, that sounds like work. I don't want to go on a diet. Food is your best medicine. That's a better title. Okay, probably today, the 3 talks that I'm going to give are probably the most important for you to help regain your health and your vision. And we're starting off with maybe, I don't know whether it's the most important, but it's up there out of the top 3. I really believe that food is our best medicine, and you are what you eat. Thomas Edison said that the doctor of the future would not prescribe any medication, but instead he would advise the patient on prevention and proper nutrition. And I think God gave us all the solutions to poor health and vision loss that's growing right outside. And it begins by really evaluating what you're putting into your body. And unfortunately, here in the United States, maybe it's not such a problem in Australia, but here we're embracing genetically modified food. And it is killing us. The genetically modified food is very, very harmful. There have been many, many studies done to show that there's an increased risk of cancer, obesity, poor nutritional value, on and on and on. 90% of our corn in the U.S. is genetically modified. Even the Mexicans have banned genetically modified corn. Did you know that? That genetically modified corn is banned in Mexico, but we're embracing it. We think it is a solution to world hunger, but it's not. It's just making people more dependent on one company, Monsanto, which my friend calls them Monsatan, because they're causing so much problems with our health. So what do we need to do? Well, organic. I think organic raw food. There was an interesting study done in the 40s. This is before commercial farming. And I grew up on a farm in Pennsylvania. And what we did, we rotated crops. One year we had our cash crop. The next year we put alfalfa, and we used farmer's gold, which is cow manure, put it in the field. And farmers put things back into the soil. Now with commercial farming, they're not rotating crops. It's the cash crop every year. So we're depleting our soil. So there was a study done in the 1940s where the government looked at the nutritional value of food. And I want to take spinach as an example. The average serving of spinach in 1940 had 158 milligrams of iron in each serving. That study was repeated in 2012. Guess how many milligrams of iron is now in spinach? 2.2. It went from 158 to 2.2. That's just an example. So the food that we're eating is nutritionally deficient. It may look great, green and all the leaves are perfect, but there's no nutritional value. So that's a reason why you need to eat organic. There was another study done in Chicago where they compared organic and non-organic. The organic food consistently had 5 to 10-fold more nutrition than the non-organic, 5 to 10-fold. And it had 5 to 10-fold less toxic metals. That's another problem. We have a lot of toxins in our body that we have to get rid of. So if you don't have good nutrition, you have toxins in your body is not going to heal. Your body can regenerate, but if you don't have the building blocks, nothing's going to happen. So many of the symptoms that you have, whether they're bizarre or unusual, could be due to a nutritional deficiency. And a mineral deficiency, I think all of us here have a mineral deficiency. I used to test everyone for zinc deficiency. Would pass around, it's called the zinc tally test. You squirt a liquid in your mouth. I stopped doing it because everybody was always deficient. Even if you're taking zinc as a supplement, you're probably deficient in zinc. Why? The doctor, I take a lot of zinc. My zinc level should be high. Well, it's not being absorbed into your body because of poor digestion. And if you have heavy metals, lead and mercury are big, big molecules. They're huge, about the size of this room. Zinc's a tiny little guy. And if you have lead toxicity in your body, those tiny guys, zinc, aren't going to work. They're going to be excreted. So that's why all of you here are going to be tested for heavy metals. We're going to do that in 2 ways. One, we use a French device called an oligoscan based on spectrophotometry. And you may be confused, but spectro means light meter, and it's a way of analyzing the intracellular levels of good minerals and heavy metals, toxic in your cell. And the way they do that is, like, how does NASA know the composition of the gas on Jupiter? They use light. When I was in college and studying chemistry, we used spectrophotometry to measure the composition of different elements. So we can do that on your skin. But we're also going to do a urine test on you, because the urine test can look at it in a different way. So we're going to look at it 2 ways, and then we're going to talk about the appropriate treatment for that. But let's get back to food. I'm going to depress you even more. So there's a lot of high fructose corn syrup here in the U.S. Everything you put in your body has high fructose corn syrup. Salad dressing, fruit juices, cereal, it's just loaded. There's a problem with high fructose corn syrup. Number one, it's made from genetically modified corn. And you may be thinking, well, if I just have a little bit of high fructose corn syrup, or I eat 1 GMO Torita chip, it's okay. You're wrong. They did a study. A group of guys that had a colon resection, and they had a, colostomy bag. Had them eat a little bit of genetically modified corn chips. Immediately, the permeability of their gut changed. Genetically modified changes the permeability of your gut. causes a leaky gut. And now researchers, Dr. Perlmutter wrote a book called The Gut Brain, and he has found there's a correlation between the gut and the brain, and I say to you there's a correlation between the gut and the eye. So if you have wet macular degeneration, what's going on? Your retina's leaking, and there's a good chance your gut is leaking. So if you have a wrinkled retina, there's a good chance there's wrinkling in your gut too. There's a correlation between the gut. And no one in the United States has a healthy gut, unfortunately, and that's why more and more people are getting eye problems. Why? We've had immunizations, antibiotics, eating genetically modified food, and cesarean sections are becoming popular. I don't know what percentage of babies now are born with C-sections, but it's horrible because they don't get that inoculation of bacteria from the mother's vagina. And they're not being breastfed. Those two things are probably going to be contributing to autism and a lot of health issues in the future. We need to be exposed to bacteria. Also, there's an obsession now with cleanliness. Everybody's wearing gloves. Grade school kids are taking hand sanitizers with them. We need to put bacteria into our body. We need to strengthen our gut. Now, the French know a solution to this. The French kiss each other all the time. Kissing improves your gut bacterial health. So I don't want everyone here to get promiscuous, but instead of shaking hands, just kiss the cheek. Because we're introducing bacteria. When I was a kid, I ate a dirty apple off the street, drank out of a garden hose, you know. But nowadays, it's like you can't do any of those things. So we're going to look at your gut too, because I do think having a healthy gut. And of course, taking probiotics. I feel this is so important that the vitamins that I've developed have probiotics in them and digestive enzymes, because people are too lazy to be taking probiotics and the vitamins. So I put them in the vitamins. So when you take a capsule, they're already putting into your body. But our ancestors knew how to take care of the gut. Of course, the German doctor left, and it's sauerkraut. Sauerkraut is good for the gut. Cabbage is good, has vitamin C. So fermented foods like yogurt, kimchi, pickles, all these things are good for your gut, in addition to taking probiotics. Now, we have a lot of toxins in our food. And aspartame is another big one. I hope none of you here are taking aspartame. Aspartame is a poison, and it is definitely linked to a lot of neurological problems, in particular glaucoma. I had a glaucoma patient that was going blind, and I was talking to her about avoiding aspartame. And she says, Dr. Kondrot, I know not to take it. I avoid it. She took out a piece of chewing gum, and it was sugarless, and it had aspartame in it. So you have to be clever. My friend Dr. Rowan made a good comment. If it has a label on it, don't eat it. So if you go into the supermarket, it has a label on it, that's your cue not to eat it. You got to really go more towards organic, raw living food. The best way to know it's organic is to grow it yourself. That's why we have a couple of containers out there growing our own vegetables and fruit, because then you know. I had a patient, I have to laugh, I call her the lazy gardener. This lady should go to Home Depot, buy a bag of organic soil, put it in a wheelbarrow or a wagon at home, cut off the top, plant her seeds, water it, take it outside in the sunlight, bring it in, and she grew vegetables, lettuce, and things like that. At the end of the season, she threw the bag away and went to Home Depot and got another one. So you have to start maybe growing your own food. I also think that when you grow your own food, you're putting your love and energy into it. When you buy commercial food, I think the negative energy of the people growing it is in the food. You know, plants have a certain energy. So when you grow your own food, it is much healthier for you. Now, one thing I'd like everybody to grow, and Dr. David Williams said this is God's gift to mankind for detoxification, and that's cilantro. And God even made the seeds large for people with poor vision because they're large seeds, and it grows like a weed. And cilantro crosses the blood-brain barrier. It means it removes mercury and some heavy metals from your brain. And I'm lucky to be married to a Vietnamese woman. And Vietnamese have a very low incidence of heavy metal poisoning because they don't use lettuce. Cilantro is in everything. You get a Vietnamese sandwich, it's loaded with cilantro. You get Vietnamese soup, tons of cilantro in. So eat the cilantro. Put it in your soup, put it on a sandwich, make cilantro pesto. Really good for detoxifying the body. An important step. So the conclusion is you need to eat right for good sight. Look at what you eat. The more colorful the food that you eat, the more colorful your vision will be because your eye craves the color. And I talk to so many people that are elderly. They have their oatmeal and banana for breakfast. My mother was like that when she was alive. I says, Mom, it's not healthy. Number one, the oatmeal is genetically modified. The banana has no color. You know, you need to eat blueberries, anything that has color to it. So don't eat oatmeal. It's genetically modified. Eat a bowl of fruit. Another big issue is the gluten sensitivity. More and more people are becoming gluten sensitive. It was unheard of when I started out in my practice of medicine. Now they're saying that the majority of the population is gluten sensitive. Why? Because the wheat fields are being sprayed with Roundup spray. So the wheat berries are now being contaminated, and there's cross allergies being developed. I know anytime I eat a lot of pasta here in the United States or bread, I'll get loose stools. But when I'm in Europe, when I spent 3 months in Italy doing research, you have to be crazy not to eat pasta in Italy. And I just gorged myself with it, had no problems, because they're not using genetically modified food and they're not being exposed to the Roundup. So I almost want to advise you to eliminate gluten from your diet and eliminate corn from your diet. Dr. Patricia Kane, a brilliant nutritionist who practices in New Jersey, she does nutritional IVs, and her specialty is people with chronic neurological problems, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis. And the first thing she does is eliminate corn from their diet. No corn at all. That is tough to do. Now you start looking at labels, everything has corn in it, high fructose corn syrup. So you may want to take that step too. Eliminate corn from your diet. Even organic corn is not healthy. Even organic corn. Well, there's something called fumicin, I think it's called. It's a black mold that grows on the corn. It's epidemic. And it's extremely neurotoxic. If you're healthy, small doses aren't going to hurt you. But if you have a neurological problem or a vision problem, even a small dose may cause a problem. A good analogy, a naturopathic doctor told me, when we're born with an empty rain barrel. As we live our life, it fills with toxins. Once that barrel gets full, even a small amount will overflow and will have a symptom. That's why people that are toxic are sensitive. You know these people that perfume bothers them, odors, they get sick because their rain barrel is full. They got to get rid of it.